Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to ARTIVISM, the power of art for social transformation. Today we have Jayson Simba. Jayson Simba is the founder and executive director of New York Festival of Film, right? He will speak about the journey and the challenges of putting together a film festival that can effectively inspire change for social transformation. Take it away, Jayson.
All right. Well, thank you, Audrey, and hello, everybody, and thank you for having me on today. As Audrey said, my name is Jayson Simba. I am the founder and executive director at Festival of Cinema NYC. Let me tell you a little bit about the festival. Festival of Cinema NYC is a 10-day film festival that takes place in Forest Hills, in Queens. The festival is designed to support the development of emerging independent filmmakers and simultaneously engage the underserved community. We provide arts and culture in the form of independent film by undiscovered artists from the African, Latinx, Asian, Arab, Native American, as well as the LGBT community. The event aims to establish a bridge between community education and advocacy through film and exhibition. And this year, with all the hard work that we put in, this year we are, I think, one of the only film festivals, if not the only film festival in New York City that is supported by the National Endowment of the Arts, the Department of Cultural Affairs, and the New York State Council on the Arts. So we're really excited about this year having that support. To speak on, and yes, you have the picture there. That's the theater where we play everything. It's the Regal Midway in Forest Hills. It's, I think, the last theater in a movie theater in Forest Hills, basically. I wanted to talk about first, like, one of the reasons why we created the festival, basically because there was nothing like this in Forest Hills. So, the area that we covered. So it's basically, I want to say it's Community Board 6, so District 29. That's basically Forest Hills, Kew Gardens, Regal Park, some of Briarwood, Glendale, that kind of area in Forest in Queens. And back in 2017, when we first launched the festival, there was a lack of arts and culture, especially film, in the area, in that part of Queens. Everyone always associates the art and culture scene. When you think about Queens, they're thinking Long Island City, Astoria. That's where everything usually is. The Museum of Moving Image, and LIC is known for a lot of the studios that they have there. So one of the reasons why we developed Festival of Cinema NYC specifically in this area was because there was a lack of it. There was nothing like this of its kind. And I myself am a filmmaker, and I started the organization with 2 other filmmakers, and we had been going to film festivals and seeing stuff that we like, and we didn't. And one day, we were just talking and said, hey, why don't we try and do something like this here? And we had this idea to start this world-class film festival event, and we sat and we were like, well, what makes a world-class film festival? Like, what's going to make us stand out from the rest, or at least put us on a tier with the bigger ones, the better festivals. So, the 3 things were, we wanted to establish ourselves as a nonprofit organization, because there are a lot of scam film festivals out there. So there are over 200 film festivals in New York City. That was back in 2017. So I want to say that number is significantly higher. But we wanted to establish ourselves as a nonprofit, so people didn't think we were just there to do some kind of scam and take their money and not play their films, or I don't know, to take the audience's money and provide really bad films. So that was one. So the other thing was, we wanted to make it a 10-day film festival. A lot of people thought we were crazy for doing that, because most film festivals, especially ones that are just starting off, are usually like a weekend deal. They're usually like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or even like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No longer than 5 days. And it's only the really, like, the more established film festivals, the highly respected film festivals, that usually go for 10 days and more. Usually, on average, it's about 10, sometimes 11 days of the big film festivals. And the big film festivals I am referring to are, the Tribeca Film Festival, Sundance, the Toronto Film Festival, even mid-tier film festivals like Sarasota Film Festival, which is an amazing film festival. All those film festivals are I think they're 10 days long, maybe 11, I don't know, around there. And so we wanted to, to be looked at as a festival of that level. And then the final thing we wanted to do, we wanted to establish ourselves as I guess an important part of the community. We felt the community would play or does play an important part in what we're trying to do, especially when we're trying to raise awareness of the arts and culture and what's available to us and things, from other countries and I don't know, all the stuff that people don't know about. It's like, hey guys, look what's going on. They're so used to the big blockbuster films and the mainstream movies, that there's no substance in the films that are being shown in the area. So we made it about the community. And in our first year in 2017, we had we had such a connection with the community, and everyone got behind us. We had 3,000 people show up over the course of 10 days, which is completely unheard of. We had an article written about us in the Wall Street Journal. Things went really well in 2017, and that also got the attention of Regal, which is why we were there, because we actually started off in a small independent theater called the Kew Garden Cinemas, which was actually in Kew Gardens, the neighboring town. And the festival was such a success. Regal saw what we did and invited us over to Forest Hills, where we would just have more visibility. The transportation to get there would be easier, and having Regal behind us as a main support would be great. Something we couldn't refuse. The pictures that you are seeing now these are pictures from our red carpet. This is last year. That's our publicist John in the blue shirt there. That was one of our jurors for the festival. I can't remember her name right now, but she was one of the documentary jurors. And then we have I think there was a filmmaker on the red carpet and one of our interviewers, Bonnie Rose. But yeah, that's usually what goes on over the course of 10 days. So one of and these are also filmmakers, again, being interviewed on the red carpet. One of the I guess kind of the theme or the purpose of this presentation is, how does festival cinema advocate for social change, right? So one of the things that we found very important, and we did this from day one, because when we traveled around to film festivals, we saw what some festivals were doing that were great and what some festivals were not doing. And we were like, all right, well, they need to do this to make it better and so forth. And we kind of try to combine all those ideas. And one of the ideas that we had was to partner with third-party organizations that are in a similar field, whether it be, film, TV, or some kind of media. We wanted to partner with them so that they can present work from their organization and what they do, and to raise awareness of their organization through our audience, and make our audience aware of what they do and their audience aware of what we do, and kind of create this synergy and and just spread the word. So some of the organizations that we have teamed up with in the past are and this is also we did a panel. What you're seeing now is a panel of what do you call it? We did a panel on female on women in film, and these are some of the female filmmakers that participated at Festival Cinema. That was over at Kew Gardens. The community gave us one of the buildings to use. It was a beautiful building over there. The Maple Grove Cemetery has a center where they do performances and stuff, and they lend us the space. But some of the organizations that we have teamed up with in the past include ArteEaste. ArteEaste is an organization that advocates artists. They promote artists and filmmakers, but artists in general from the Middle East. So we thought that was really important. So we worked with them, and they had a whole presentation. They did a day of screenings. They had a talk. It was really great. It was really well received. Another organization that we worked with was America's Media Initiative. They're an organization that focuses on artists from Cuba, filmmakers, and again, artists in general from Cuba. So we did and we may have a slide of the Q&A that we did. I'm not sure if it's there or not. That was from another one, but I'm not. I think if you go through, let me see. Keep going. I don't know if it's there. I'm not sure if I sent you that picture. Keep going. Let's see if it's there. Nope, that's our teenage workshop. We'll talk about in a second. Nope, it might be the next one. Nope, it's not that one either. All right. No, I don't have it then. No, because I think this is the last slide that I sent to you. So anyway, so we work with American Media Initiative in 20, I want to say it was 2021. There was a big crisis going on in Cuba with the government and the people. And well, there's always a crisis going on in Cuba, but there was some big thing going on. So we wanted to raise awareness of that. We work with America's Media Initiative, where we screened films that had opposing views. We had an animated film and a documentary that showed kind of both sides. And then we had a discussion with, we had a moderated panel. We got some professors, and I think we got a journalist from Cuba to come on the panel and talk about what was going on in the current political climate in Cuba. And then another organization that we work with in the past is Asian American Film Lab, and they're an organization, nonprofit again, that they work primarily with female filmmakers and filmmakers of color. So that's what their organization focuses on, and so that's how we try to advocate for social change, is by bringing awareness of these organizations that are trying to make a difference. We also play certain films. We have a really, we really vet out our films. We get about on average about 400 to 500 film submissions a year. And the screening team, we watch every single film, we discuss every film, and we decide which ones are gonna play, which ones cater to our audience, and which ones have an important message that really needs to get out there. So, for example, our closing night film for I want to say it was 2019. We had a movie called Quest. That was a feature film, and it was about youth imprisonment. How kids get into trouble, and when they don't have the proper guidance, and how they end up in facilities. So that film, the director is a big advocate for that, for youth and teenagers and the youth that are in prison, and trying to prevent that from happening. So Quest was a really strong story about that. And last year we had a film called Sign the Show by director Kat Brewer, and I think she was in one of the slides. She made a documentary about the inclusivity, or rather exclusivity, of the deaf community and at festivals, and primarily music festivals, but festivals in general that don't have the facilities to cater to the deaf community. So it was funny because watching that film, as our screening team watched that film, it made us aware of, like, oh my God, that this is something that that film festivals often overlook as well. So that year we hired an interpreter to be at some of our events and do the interpreting, and so that we could become an all-inclusive inclusive event / organization, and the deaf people and the deaf community could come and enjoy the Q&As and the films and the subtitles and all that good stuff. So there was that. What you're seeing there, we also did our festival, in line with doing we're presenting a world-class event. We do seminars and workshops. This is actually what you're seeing now is a team workshop that we did a couple of years back, where we had I want to say it was a class of about 10 teenagers, ages 13 up to 19 years old. And it was basically a filmmaking class where they learned, I guess, the basics from everything from, writing the script all the way to casting, to actually producing a finished product. At the end of this, it was a 5-week course. At the end of this course, everyone that participated in the class had a 2-minute short film that we later ended up screening at the festival. So that's another way that we try to, we try to get the word out and inspire and bring people to, find a career or something in film. That right there's Kat Brewer. She is, and that was one of the subjects in the documentary from Sign the Show. She was the participant is deaf, and Kat Brewer did the film that addressed the issue with events not having facilities for that cater to the deaf community so that they can enjoy it. Let's see. Let me see what else I can talk about. How our festival is different. Oh, well, what you're seeing there, it's a perfect segue. What you're seeing there in 2020, because of the pandemic, all theaters shut down. So again, our team tries to be as creative as possible. And one of the things that we came up with was creating a drive-in movie theater. We actually ended up partnering with St. John's University in no, it's not in Forest Hills, it's Jamaica, on Union Turnpike, and they lent us their lot, and we built from the ground up. We built a drive-in cinema so that we were, I think, one of only 5 film festivals in the Northeast that actually had a live in-person event at a time when all theaters or movie theaters had closed down. So we didn't want to go online, only because we felt that that's not really what a festival in general is about. Film festivals really are about everyone getting together and having your peers and having, watching your film live, surrounded by people, by live people, getting that live reaction. So I know a lot of festivals went online, and it was an option that a lot of people didn't have. It was just, that was the only option they had, was to go online. And we just didn't want to do that. We felt there'd be a better way to connect with our audience. And so we were lucky enough, like I said, to team up with St. John's University. We built this giant step and repeat so that cars could go down the red carpet and people could have their picture taken without having to worry about, the 6 feet of distance or coming out and whatever the regulations were back in 2020 and that the city and state, put on everybody. But this made it a very safe way for everyone to get on the red carpet, get their pictures taken, and have a film festival. We cut the film festival down. It went down from 10 days. It was only 4. So it was, I think, a Thursday to Sunday, but it was a great event nonetheless. We played a fraction of the films. We normally play about 120 films on average every year. That year we played about 30. So yeah, but it was a really great event. We were all happy with what we accomplished, and the turnout was actually a lot bigger than we expected. We had pretty much 50% capacity on most of the nights, which wasn't terrible considering every movie that we played was a movie no one had ever heard of. Because at the time that we did the festival, by the time that we partnered with St. John's and everything started coming together, other people had the same idea. So there was a lot of drive-ins popping up in 2020, but they were playing a lot of the staple films, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Grease. So movies that everyone's familiar with, that are family friendly. I think a lot of Disney films that usually play at those drive-ins. So to get the audience that we did was telling, because it was just great that people were coming out to see movies that they had never heard of. That may have been great, may have been bad. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into, and so we were grateful for the turnout. What you're seeing here is every year at the end of the event, at the end of the 10 days, we have a big award dinner gala where we give 17 awards, and we give awards in 17 categories. Best feature narrative, documentary, short film, and so forth. Kind of like the Oscars. More relaxed, kind of more like a Golden Globes, but it's a dinner, and everyone goes out there, and it's a really great time. It's a great way to end the festival. I don't have any pictures of the actual trophy that we give out, but it is a beautiful custom film camera. But yeah, that is that is all that Festival of Cinema is. I guess I could answer questions now.
What got you into film?
So my background is I'm an actor. So by trade, I went to Performing Arts High School by Lincoln Center, and then I went to the neighborhood playhouse. So I had been to a lot of film festivals I want to say in 2013, from 2013 to about 2015. For the course of 2.5 years, I had been in 3 films that were very successful on the film festival circuit. And so I traveled all over the world, going to seeing different film festivals, some that were great and some that were not so great. And so, when I came back here, like I said earlier, when I came back to New York, there was one night I was talking with a bunch of filmmaker friends of mine, and we started talking how there was a lack of events like that in this area. You know, it's all Long Island City, Astoria, but you know, Kew Gardens, Forest Hills, Regal Park doesn't have anything like that, which is a shame because there's a huge population. I mean, there's over 105,000 residents in this area. So yeah, so that's really what got me into it was that my background is an actor. I've made 14 films. I've written, directed, produced 14 films as well. So I've had films that I played at festivals. I know what the experience is like and what I want out of the experience when I go to these festivals. So yeah, we just, one night we were talking about, what's lacking and I don't know, crazy idea came up. Hey, maybe we should start a festival here in Forest Hills, Queens, and bring that to the community and bring the awareness of that and see how it's received. So yeah, but that's why we started it. Well, that's how I got into it.
I want to know, what were some of the topics that the young people who took your workshop did? What kinds of films did they create? Did you give them
So we gave them, because even at that age and with the limited equipment, there was limited equipment, limited time. There was a lot of limitations. So we actually gave them a 2-page script. It was, I think it was just a standard, like a scene book. I think I have it here. It was just a scene book that had a couple of scenes, not a couple. It was a pretty fat book. I would say it had maybe about 75 2-page scenes in there, and we just assigned scenes to different students. We wanted to make it short because the idea of them making the film was just learning the basics. So the basic shots, how to cut a film together, and what works and what doesn't. So it wasn't so much of getting a message out there. It was more to just teach them, the basics so that they can later go on and get the message out there. But funny enough, though, there was a filmmaker, one of the teens continued to study film, and I think 2 years later submitted a feature-length documentary that we actually ended up playing. And it was really well done because Kew Gardens was having an issue with I know that there's a bridge that the city owns, but they don't want to maintain, and it's falling apart, and it's on a major strip in Kew Gardens. So there was a huge thing that happened back, I want to say like 2018, and he documented the whole thing. He made a whole documentary about it, and we played it that year. So luckily everything was resolved, and the city agreed to then pay for all the repairs and maintenance, because I think at one point they were thinking of tearing down this bridge, and the bridge, if you're not from Kew Gardens, you really don't know what I'm talking about. But the bridge kind of there were a lot of stores on this bridge. It was like something, I don't know how to explain it. It's just there was a lot of stores on this bridge. It's not your typical footbridge. It was a road, and there was stores. As a matter of fact, the Kew Garden Cinemas is right on the foot of that bridge. So had they knocked down that bridge, it may have affected that theater. So a lot of the business owners were worried. The community didn't want this bridge to get knocked down because it kind of bridges the residential with the business area. So yeah. But yeah, he did a documentary on that, and it was really well done.
And how does one submit a film?
So we are exclusively on a website called filmfreeway.com. And you can just find us there, Festival of Cinema NYC. We're taking submissions now. I think our absolute final deadline is May 13th. Our next deadline is coming up March 29th. We have a deadline every 5 weeks that the fees increase, only because we get more films, and it's just the work gets harder. But yeah, our next deadline is March 29th. You go to filmfreeway.com, look up Festival of Cinema NYC, and you'll find us. We'll be there. Not to be confused, there was actually a festival that popped up, I think last year or during the pandemic, called Festival of Cinema LA.
Mm.
We don't know whether we should go after them to take that name down or to change their name. But we did have filmmakers that showed up to our festival last year and asked us if we were franchised and if the LA Festival Cinema was part of our organization. Like, no, that is another organization that just popped out of nowhere and just, you know, took our name basically. So yeah, we are not them. Festival Cinema NYC on filmfreeway.com.
Jayson, I wanted to ask you a little bit about how you might get students more involved. You mentioned your work with St. John's.
Yeah.
If we had students who were interested in internships or in any kind of opportunities to help you all, is that a possibility for the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had, up until the pandemic, we were working with this program in New York City. I want to say the SYEP, I think it was called, where they provided, you know, students from colleges and high schools to intern at our organization. We normally start taking volunteers. You know, we have a call for volunteers. Usually comes out around, let me see, around June, because the festival, yeah, because then we do the orientation in July. And then the festival is in the first week of August. So yeah, usually in June we look for volunteers, but in terms of working for the festival or interning, we are always looking for that. Because we kind of all went remote. We used to have an office where we worked at and we could house everyone, you know, everyone, not house everybody, but, you know, we had a place where everyone can come and do work. But after the pandemic, that all changed and kind of work from home now. So we stopped taking interns because of that, because they're just, you know, there was no remote work to be done, or especially what we learned was a lot of times these internships are designed to teach the interns, you know, a certain aspect of I guess of what they're getting themselves into. So in our in this organization, for example, it was, you know, how to put a film festival together, you know, looking through the films and what needs to get, paperwork needs to get done and whatnot. But doing that remote was kind of, it just didn't work. You know, that's something that kind of had to be hands-on. So we haven't had interns since 2019, but we absolutely, we have worked with Queens College before as well, who provided interns. We absolutely are open to working with interns and you know, and exploring that again, because we could definitely use them. So for sure.
Good to know.
And you can always just reach out, by the way. Yeah. There really is no application per se. You know, you could email me, Jayson@festivalofcinemanyc.com. And you know, and then we could discuss it from there, because then with like with Queens College, I think I just signed some, I think we just made like some form, and then they handed it out to some of their students, and then we got the replies. And the same thing kind of with the SYEP program. They kind of handle everything. We just put our names on the list, and then we told them what we're looking for, and they handled everything. And then they just said, hey, look, these are the interns we got for you. Have fun. So yeah, you know, if you're interested in getting students from your university to come out, definitely we can speak about how to go, you know, we can speak about how to go about getting an application to them and receiving submissions in terms of
Great, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Carolina, maybe?
Thank you for this wonderful presentation about the film festival and your founding of it. You know, it's a very incredible opportunity for the people in the area, and also as it expands for others that would like to come and participate as well. I was thinking about, what would you give us some words about if I want to start my own film festival? Say, you know, I might be abroad or in another country. What would be your advice for
Don't
people
do
that
it
are
now. Well, I think the main thing that you really would need is to find a venue first. Because that, you know, when we first started ours, that was the main, like that was the make it or break it deal. If we couldn't find a place to host the event, it wasn't going to happen. And we got lucky enough that when we reached out to the Kew Garden Cinemas, that they said yes. So you know, there's that, but there's also other organizations that we're a member of that are very useful and can guide you and have excellent resources. One of those organizations being the Film Festival Alliance. It's a nonprofit organization that takes memberships, and they offer a lot of resources to film festivals, or, you know, of all stages. It could be, you could be a film festival starting up, or you could be a film festival that's been around for 20 years. There's other organizations like that. So my recommendation would be, if you're going to start a film festival, do a lot of research, understand, you know, what kind of films you want to play, because submissions are not easy to get. We got lucky because we had a lot of support from the community our first year, and the word really spread, and we got a lot of submissions. But you know, we were getting calls that first year in 2017. We were getting calls from other film festival directors asking how we were able to get so many submissions, especially when we were a new festival starting off, because a lot of festivals, when they're starting off, either have to do free submissions, which is something, you know, we wanted to avoid, because we tried to, you know, we needed money to put the organization together. But they either do free submissions, or they I mean, in line with free submissions, they would go out and ask other film festivals, hey, could you give us some of your films, or could you recommend a filmmaker? So yeah, one of the things you really need to kind of be aware of is where you're going to get your films from, and make a solid plan on how you are going to go after those filmmakers, so that they become aware of your event. But yeah, first and foremost, find that venue, and then work your way up from there. But that's about the only advice really that I have.
I want to know, this festival has brought this community to life somehow, right? How has
It
the
has,
community
yeah.
embraced that?
I'm sorry?
How has the community embraced that?
Oh, it's, you know, every year we get bigger and bigger. It's funny because there's still people in the community that have never heard of the festival, even though we're now going into our 7th year. So you know, and of course, with getting, you know, the bigger we get, the more money we start getting, we can promote the festival more. So one of our biggest things that I guess, you know, one of the things that bumped us up a bit was in 2021. Yeah, in 2021, we got a lot of funding because of COVID. A lot of arts organizations got extra funding because COVID almost, you know, tore them apart, you know, in 2020. So 2021, we got funding that was enough for us to start putting flags all over the neighborhood, which is something that we've done ever since, because we saw how effective it was. And that really got the neighborhood like to back, like it really brought awareness to the festival. I mean, beyond what I had imagined. The next thing we know, we had a ton of people applying to volunteer, and our attendance numbers went up. So the festival has definitely been embraced by the community, and we hope to continue that trend, and just, you know, and that the word spreads, and you know, they tell their friends and their friends, and just, you know, we hope that the community gets bigger and more people come out. But yeah, we've definitely been embraced. It's crazy because, like I said, Forest Hills doesn't have anything like this. So, you know, a lot of especially a lot of people that are into film, independent film, that you know, normally only see in the city or in Brooklyn. We get a lot of that crowd coming from Forest Hills. They're like, wow, this is a great thing. So we have definitely, yeah, we've definitely embraced the community. The community has definitely embraced us, and it's been a great ride. It's been a great journey.
And when does it take place this year? August again?
So this year it takes place from August 14th to the 13th. So it's always the first Friday of August, and for 10 days. So I think last year it was from the 5th to the 14th, I think. And then this year it's from the 4th to the 13th. But yeah, it's the first Friday of August, and then for the 10 days after that.
Nice. I may make it this year.
I wanted to follow up. You know, it could be more of a, like a theoretical response, and we can ask everybody here and the audience members as well to chime in. But what are your thoughts in regards to all this in-house viewing of stream movies versus actually, like you said, going to a theater, being with your friends. Um, any thoughts about that experience of the black box and the theater versus staying home and watching it with maybe like your sound, just surround sound and all that?
Well, it's crazy because that seems to be where everything is heading. It's an ongoing discussion between festival directors and even moviegoers, is that how much life is left in movie theaters, because everything, and especially with the technology, the way it's advancing so fast, like you said, the surround sound systems, the giant screen televisions, even the high definition projectors where you can make your entire wall a movie screen. It kind of it seems like it's going in that direction where theaters, I was just speaking to RG earlier about Regal shutting down one of their biggest theaters over here in Union Square in New York City. That's one of their flagship theaters that has they have a whole bunch of different kind of screens, 40X, IMAX, all that good stuff, and they're shutting it down. So so I feel personally that it's a shame because I feel you should go out and enjoy movies are meant to go out and be enjoyed in a big auditorium in the theater. But I understand the convenience of being at home and not having to get dressed up and get in your car or get on the bus, or subway, or whatever. And especially with the technology, again, you could almost have a better experience at home than you can have at the theater, and not worry about bed bugs or whatever creatures, lurk. But, it's one thing. So there's that, because a lot of the mainstream and the blockbusters, the studios are heading in that direction. And all you're seeing now in theaters that really are making money are the big blockbuster movies, the Marvel superhero films, or, I don't know, the next Tom Cruise film. But there's very little in between that gets to theaters and really becomes successful, which is why, if you haven't noticed, there was a time when films, from the moment that they go on screen to the time that they're available, on television, on HBO, or even on DVD, or back in the days it was VHS. It used to be about a year, and now I think it's only 45 days. Some studios even have it less than that, because they're finding more and more that it is easier just to make money and get an audience from home streaming and viewing. Where that leaves us at the film festival, that's the argument there, is that can film festivals save theaters? Because that's not an option for film festivals, and it's not an option for filmmakers who are like the filmmakers that we try to work with, that we're trying to promote, are emerging filmmakers that you've never heard of, that they do a film with unknown actors. They barely get any publicity. You're not going to see a commercial for their film, when you're watching Monday Night Football. So film festivals, in a way, I feel, is what can possibly save movie theaters. But is it enough? There's, like I said, there's over 200 film festivals in New York City alone. But with the cost of putting a film festival together, and it's not every day. So can realistically, can a movie theater survive off the income that is brought in through a film festival? So I think that whole movie theater experience and theaters, I think that's going to change. It already is, but it's just, I think the smart thing to do would be for theaters to really start paying attention and working with film festivals, because I think ultimately that is what can possibly save or bring people back into the theater. When the only way to see these films is by attending events like ours, you have no option. They're not going to end up, most of these are not going to end up on streaming platforms, or at least they're not going to end up on streaming platforms anytime soon. And of course, there's, the added benefit of most film festivals, they have the filmmakers come out. Our film festival, for example, last year, we played, I want to say it was 126 films. And of those 126 films, I think 92 filmmakers came out. So, you don't get that opportunity very often, where you actually get to speak to the director or the actors and find out, get behind the scenes, like a glimpse of what it was to make that film. You know, you see the product on the screen, and now you get to hear the challenges and how they brought that to life. So and you really, you know, you don't get that from streaming, and the closest you get to that is like, you know, DVD extras. So yeah, it's I don't know, it's a very strange future that we're heading into, because I'm not sure what's going to happen. Again, me personally, I prefer the movie theater experience, but you know, you can't deny the convenience of screening at home. So.
And apropos to your comment, also, we have the technology on the side of the community, right? Nowadays, to make a high quality film for certain levels, right? You can basically shoot it out of your phone for some instances, right? Any thoughts about how technology is also affecting who can become a filmmaker? Like how are all these stories reaching out because of the the technology being readily available? Not like before that perhaps you had to have a whole studio of production.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it's funny you mentioned that, because that's another discussion that I was having with a couple of filmmakers not too long ago. Whereas, you know, nowadays, because of technology and you know how fast everything always seems to advance, yeah, anyone could pick up their phone and shoot a movie with it. The quality, you know, the camera quality on a phone is enough to shoot a film. And you see, but what that creates is that now you have everyone thinking that they're a filmmaker. So everyone's picking up their phone and shooting movies, but you know, they've never studied the art. They've never got to school for it. They just, hey, you know, so and so can make a film, I can do it. And the platforms that are out there to kind of support that. You know, you have all the TikToks and the Instagram and Facebook stories. Social media is you know, it's leaning more and more towards that like that quick fix, like the 3-minute video, you know, the 30-second video, and it's creating stars, which is it's really, when I say stars, I mean celebrities, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, it's insane, because now everyone thinks they're a filmmaker, and that's just not the case. So, you know, it's just a weird time that we're in, because the technology has also allowed us to do that. And I think the ones that will strive and move forward with, you know, pursuing or getting a job in the industry are those that actually study film. You know, so you'll have the people who pick up their iPhone and, you know, and shoot something and think they're a filmmaker. Hey, you know, oh, I saw so and so do it, or you know, anyone could do that. I saw it on TikTok. I'll make one myself, and I'm going to become rich and famous. Then you have the other guys that are like, okay, I have the phone, but you know, how do you make a shot that makes sense? How do you tell a story in a cohesive way? So, you know, so it's those filmmakers. I think it's those that, you know, it's like that old saying, you know, education goes a long way. Always go to school, but stay in school, kids. But yeah, it's crazy what technology has also allowed, and what has allowed us to become, that now everyone, with the platforms that are available online, and how easy it is to get your content out there, even YouTube, you know, and Vimeo kind of tries to I guess differentiate themselves by, I think they try to put like higher quality stuff on Vimeo, but at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. Vimeo, YouTube, TikTok, the stories on Facebook, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, are they the person who, you know, when you're going to pursue something, are you really pursuing it, as in, are you going to study it, or are you just picking up the camera and saying that, you know, hey, I could do this because I've seen it done 1,000 times. I watched TV all my life. I know how to do it. It's, you know, that's the big question.
Yep. And also, what about like the documentaries that are coming now from all around the world of people that have access to these portable technologies that are raising the social concerns that artists then are addressing, right? Perhaps they're starting the conversation of like, look, this is what's happening in my neighborhood, in my country, in my school, and then from there the conversation starts going to higher levels of perhaps artistic display or venues, right?
Oh yeah,
But
absolutely. I mean,
also,
yeah. You know, from that point of view, from that perspective, yes, because of the technology that's available to us, we as a society are seeing more and becoming more and more aware of things that we weren't aware of before. But then there's that argument: is that a good thing? Is it okay not to know so much? Like, like that's why the government has all these classified files, and we don't really know if aliens exist or not. It's crazy because there's the argument where we become too aware, and then when you become too aware, then yes, you have the Me Too movement and the Black Matters, but then you have the people that take advantage of that. And then because we went from case in point, it's like the pandemic, right? Everyone has to wear a mask. There was a time when you couldn't walk into a bank, where you had to take off your sunglasses and your mask because you could rob the bank, right? So you could be a suspect. So before you went to that, you had to take all that off. And now they want you to come in, you got to leave your sunglasses and your mask on because you're spreading germs and you could get sick. And then you have the people that take advantage of that. So now more robs and more businesses are being victimized by criminals because of what's happening. Everyone's wearing the masks and now I think the mayor just recently made a statement that businesses should start telling people to take off their masks before they go in. It's like we don't know what the right choice is. What are we doing here? And so I think that plays a lot into the technology that we have access to today, where we see everything that's happening, every bad thing that's happening, and it could be twisted. And then of course you have to, when you throw in the mix that new deep fake technology, which I don't know if you're aware of the deep fake technology, where you could literally CGI somebody's face onto someone completely different, and you will not be able to tell the difference. And now there's a new program that lets you imitate someone's voice and their speech pattern. That's, I think, James Earl Jones kind of licensed his voice now for Star Wars, so they never have to find another voice actor to do Darth Vader, because the AI will replicate his voice and his speech pattern. So they no longer have to worry about that. So with that technology, if we can duplicate someone's voice, their speech patterns, and their look, and with everything that's available to us today, with the video cameras and the cell phones and the Google glasses and all that crap, it becomes we become a dangerous society, because you have the people that are going to use that to manipulate how we think, and we won't know what's real and what's not real, and that could destroy us.
Yeah, we're not there already.
And we can't let this opportunity pass. We have gone through like from the big regal AMC perspective of technology, the more personal, right, at home, do your own or view the movies at home, also technology. I'm just curious, what will be, let's say, in the next 5 years, your definition of an ideal movie from an artistic perspective of filmmaking?
Oh boy. I mean, I don't know if I can really answer that. It's just we'll see. Whoever, I don't know. I don't know what's whoever is the most original and creative. I mean, we talked earlier about not here. You and I and Audrey were talking about the Everything Everywhere All at Once. Which is one of the most original creative films to be in Hollywood in a while. I think it just comes down to that. We don't. Hopefully people are out there with original ideas, and we'll see more of that and less remakes and reboots, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's in store for us. I don't know, how CGI and special, the advancement of special effects, how that's going to affect us, because you also have, there's still people who love the practical effects, and a lot of film and TV are moving back to the practical effect aspect of filmmaking. You see that a lot, like in shows like the Star Wars, The Mandalorian, where they use a practical, Baby Yoda instead of having it CGI. So who knows what the future has, what the future has in store. I guess it's we'll have to wait and see who gets creative enough to show us something new.
Kind of like a mix of the old and new, and creativity, as always, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Creative and courageous, I think.
I agree.
You
I
need the
agree.
courage. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone? Okay, Carolina, you want to do your takeaway?
Definitely. Then here in ArTIVISM, well, first again, thank you for this marvelous conversation and being open to all these concerns that we have for the film industry and the film festivals. In ArTIVISM, we always close the series of the day with a key takeaway. So here it goes. What will be your key takeaway for an action item for the audience today from your presentation?
Wait. Yeah. What would be the key takeaway for what?
For an action item that you would like to leave the audience today here
An
with
action item?
Yep, like
I'm not-
like action driven takeaway from your presentation.
I mean, I guess the one thing that I would like you guys to take away from all this is if whether you're pursuing creating a film festival or making the next blockbuster Hollywood film, do your homework. It's just the biggest takeaway I get. Do your research, know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, really that goes for any career, but I would suggest that don't just because you see it and like, oh my God, they're doing it. I'm just you can't just pick up a kitchen knife and be like, hey, I could do open heart surgery. Do your homework. Do your homework. There's a lot of challenges out there. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying go if you're gonna dedicate yourself to something and get it done. Absolutely, I encourage that. But do your homework because it's you're gonna face challenges and the best way to face those challenges is to be prepared. So that is the biggest takeaway I hope you guys take.
Nice. Professor Archie?
Thank you, Jayson. Thank you for being here. Hopefully we can get some of our students and others involved in your film festival. Thank you to Stephanie Lake, the director of the Criminal Justice Program, to Jennifer Govan at the Gottesman Libraries Teachers College, Columbia University, and Sync for Hope and Adelphi University, our sponsors. Thank you, Jayson. Stay in touch. Let us know. Give us updates, and hopefully we can connect you.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
For the opportunity. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Jayson. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Next week.
Yes, next week. Next week we have Zoe Lidinzis, who will be zooming in. She will be talking about her work as an artist, how she uses art to heal others. That is at 4:30 p.m. EST. Also, please follow us on Instagram at ARTIVISM for Shared Humanity, our YouTube channel, the same ARTIVISM for Shared Humanity. If you need to email us, if you'd like to present here on ARTIVISM, email us at artivism@adelphi.edu. Did I forget anything, Carolina?
No, this is like teamwork here always. Shout out to Professor Archie for her marvelous work today and always. The fashion show is coming up, the roundtable in April, so stay tuned if you want to participate. There's the open call form on the ArTIVISM website that you can complete to submit your work. It's wearable art for a purpose. We'll be discussing topics such as consumerism, what your buying power does, and what are you truly buying when you purchase that item at the store.
And you can always Google ARTIVISM Adelphi, and the landing page, the webpage will come up. There you can see upcoming events, past events, open calls, information about our presenters, our Artivist ambassadors, and much, much more. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.